Yo, hey y'all, this is Sherm from Treehouse, and we're back. As I stated before, we're going to be sharing stories and experiences. If you noted, the name of my channel is The Journey with Sherm, learning from shared experiences. So the point of the channel really is to share experiences, to share information, so that we can all learn and we can all benefit, from the things that I've went through, from the things that you've went through. We can share and we can learn. But this story I'm going to tell today, I guess we're going to call it a cautionary tale. And this is a story about a retired firefighter who came out here to the Republica Dominicana, living out in Cabarete, and he would frequent Sosua. He was here all the time. So, retired firefighter. He had a good pension, and he was either divorced or in the process of getting divorced. But in any event, we knew many people from the fire department. There's people that he knew that I knew, and people that I knew that he knew, and he was a really good dude. Most of us know that a lot of times you have city workers who come out here to live in Sosua, to live in Dominican Republic. You got retired police, retired fire, retired sanitation. A lot of city workers come out here to live. They have good pensions, and they come out here and they kind of enjoy their life. This particular brother, good brother, sense of humor, artistic, in good physical shape, very talkative. He was a funny dude, and he was living out in Cabarete, which is about maybe 15-20 minutes out from Sosua. But he told me a hilarious story. I just thought it was crazy, the story that he told me. Check out the story. He says he was at a bar in Cabarete, and he was watching the baseball game with a retired sanitation worker, and they had like a little animosity between them, but it was nothing big. And but they weren't on the friendliest of terms. But my buddy, I'm not going to give his name, for the sake of privacy, but he had a sense of humor. But he had like a dark sense of humor. It came off as sarcastic. If you didn't know him, you would think he was very sarcastic. But anyway, as he tells me the story, it was during the game, a commercial came on. And this other guy, while the commercial was on, he turns the channel to take a look at another game to see what's going on with that game. So he turns, he looks at this other game. And then when he goes to turn back to the previous game that my buddy was watching, he can't find the channel. It's on cable, so he couldn't find the channel. So my buddy says to him, he says, "Great job, asshole." So the dude obviously gets upset, and the dude is like, "That's it." So he starts coming toward my buddy, and they begin fighting, So my buddy says they were tussling. They go to the ground. And so my man says that he felt like he was starting to lose ground in the fight. He felt like he was starting to lose position in the fight. So he decides that he's going to eye gouge the guy, And so he says he indeed does eye gouge the guy. He said there's blood coming out of the guy's eye. He said he looks at his fingers. He's got blood on his fingers, And I asked my man, I said, "Are you serious? Did you really eye gouge this dude?" And he said, yeah. He said he really did it. He said because he felt like he was losing ground in the fight. He felt like he wasn't going to win the fight, So I asked him, I said, "Yo, my man," I said, "you're telling me that you actually made a conscious decision to eye gouge somebody?" And he replied, he was like, "Yeah, I did. That's the decision I made." So it was pretty fucked up, But at the same time, it was kind of hilarious, because you're like, like, who eye gouges somebody? That's something you see. That's like some desperate shit. You know what I mean? But I never knew anybody who consciously made a decision to eye gouge somebody and actually goes through with it. But that's my man, and so that's what he did. So whenever he would come around, it was like a running joke. I was like, "Listen, everybody, put on your safety goggles, because homie's here. Watch your eyes." So it was like a running joke whenever he came around. Watch your eyes, because this was my man, the eye gouger. So we would talk about that, and we would get a laugh out of that. But in any event, he would always stop by Treehouse if he was in Sosua, and he would tell me about his adventures. He had a couple of girlfriends, But he also told me that he was partying. And for those of us who live here in Sosua, and those of us who've been around the block once or twice, we know that when people tell us they're partying, that's a term for drug use, you know. And down here in the Republica Dominicana, you know, there is drug use. You know, you have people who use cocaine, there's marijuana, among other things. But cocaine is prevalent, and it's a known fact that prostitutes and cocaine use, you know, go hand in hand, because whenever there's prostitution, there's drugs, there's crime, there's always these problems that go along with prostitution. And many of the people who come here to live, and many of the tourists, get involved with girls, and sometimes the girls that we get involved with, or the girls that we meet, sometimes they use drugs, and sometimes they actually bring drugs to their clients. So that's what was going on with him. He had some girlfriends, and they were actually bringing him drugs, and he actually told me that. So he was partying. I would see what he would look like sometimes, and he'd be a little beat up, and you know, and that was because of the drugs and the drinking and the girls, you know. And it's not the first story like this, nor is it the last story like this, but that's what was going on. But anyway, come to find out that my man died. He passed away. He fell asleep in death. And I was shocked. I was really shocked, because we're not talking about an old dude. We're talking about somebody who was no more than 58, you know, 59, a white brother, in good shape. You know, he looked good. He looked respectable. He didn't look like, you know, somebody you would see as, you know, using any type of drugs or anything like that. But he just looked good. And I was shocked. And when I heard of it, I just assumed, you know, that it was because of the lifestyle, because of the things that happen when we come down here. You know, sometimes when the brothers come down, you know, they get involved with the girls. Sometimes the girls are involved with drugs, and then you have the alcohol, the excessive alcohol, and then you mix that in with Viagra. You know, some of the dudes, you know, they have a combination of all these things together, and sometimes their body cannot withstand the constant pressure or that constant lifestyle that, you know, we're not used to having in the States. So that's one of the things that happens down here pretty often. Even when it came to my buddy, there were many nights that he would come out from Cabarete and he would wind up staying in Sosua, because he would just get so fucked up. You know, he couldn't make it back to Cabarete, so he would just stay out here. He was in no condition to get back there, even though Cabarete is only 20 minutes away, you know. So that's what happened to my buddy. My good dude, retired fireman, passed away. One of the dangers of coming to this country or any foreign country for retirees or for persons who choose to change their lifestyle is that many feel liberated. They feel free to do things that they would not normally do. And you know, some people actually come out and they think it's the Wild West, you know. So they, you know, some people are just wild for the night. They're just doing any and whatever thing. And here, you know, you have access to a lot of things you don't have access to in the States. You know, you have access to a lot of younger women, women that you wouldn't ordinarily have access to. In addition to that, you know, it's a party town, it's a tourist town, so you're going to have excessive drinking, excessive alcohol, you're going to have drug use, and then you also have gambling, you know. So these are some of the dangers of coming out here, and it's a situation where, you know, we need to understand how to maintain control, you know. And so even though we may be in another country, even though we may be in vacation, we still need to maintain good habits. We still need to maintain discipline, and we still need to pay attention to our health and also to our security. And I always tell people, you know, we may be in Sosua, but it's always important to maintain a good reputation. You always have to maintain a good reputation. Like some people say, though, you are who you are wherever you go. So some people come out here and they've had bad habits in the States and they bring those habits here. And some people come here and they've had good habits in the States and they come and develop uh, bad habits when they come out here. So there have been countless stories, unfortunately, about brothers and sisters coming here and getting jammed up, running into problems. Many people have gotten sick. Many stories of brothers having heart attacks, passing away. The combination of the drugs, the alcohol, the Viagra, and the young girls, it's not a good mix. And sometimes, people come out and they're just doing the most, wild for the night. So, point is, like, we really, really, really have to be careful, And in this particular scenario, which this is a true story with my buddy, he comes out of the New York City Fire Department, and we have a saying, and that saying is, the city won that one. And basically that means, when you retire, you've won. You've won in the sense that you've made it through your career and you got your pension, you have your money, and so all you have to do at that point is stay alive. You just got to stay alive from month to month and collect your pension. Even we also have a saying, even if you fuck your money up, even if you go through your money and waste your money, all you got to do is wait until the next month and you're going to get your money again. So you'll be all right, but it's up to us. You have to stay alive. We have to have good habits. We have to avoid getting into things that are going to cost our lives, So we have to stay in decent shape, especially older brothers, and beware of excessive use of anything. We have to know our limitations, and we have to work within our limitations. Everybody remember Clint Eastwood's word in Dirty Harry, said a man needs to know his limitations. So that's the thing. So our job is to stay alive, collect our pension for as long as we can. But in addition to that, we need to be there for our family and friends. Nobody wants to hear sad stories. So it's a cautionary tale. I can't give out my man's name, out of respect for his privacy, but many of us know who it was. But as far as we're concerned, our call to action is, we have to be safe, one. Two, we have to watch who we associate with. We have to watch our association, make sure we are with people who are going to be positive in our lives, positive influence. And then also we need to watch what we put into our bodies, especially when it comes to drugs, especially drugs down here. You have no idea what's in the drug. You don't know what it is. It's bad enough drugs from the States. Now you come to a foreign country and you have no idea what those drugs are, So you're really putting your life at risk. And we have to, stay healthy to the extent that we can. So to my brothers and sisters out there, stay safe. We learn from things that happen to other people, and hopefully those things won't happen to us. To my man, my buddy, rest in peace. We're going to miss you. We're going to miss you. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace and blessings.